thank you so much, Elka. And for everybody, I have to say I'm a little bit nervous, and I will, if I've got enough time, show you an example, but I need to put it up as a slide because you need to see it as a dialogue, and it's probably helpful to see the text. But my 5 minutes, which I'm going to start right now, or somebody else's timing. Elka, would you be willing to time? Thank you. Is the difference between empathy and sympathy. And this is something that has exercised my mind quite a lot. And I think I've done some investigations into how it's used, how the words are used, empathy and sympathy. And I've gone, read Marshall, and empathy, according to Marshall, is us holding space for the other person to be fully heard. That if there's something that has stimulated them and they want to speak about it, then the role of us offering empathy is to be with them and hold them. I'll use the word energetically, and we can hold them energetically in silence if we wish. We can use facial expressions to indicate that we're with them, that we're hearing them, or we could take the next sort of option, and that would be we could use language to indicate to them that we are fully with them and that we're listening to what they say, and that can be expressed by guessing what we think they're saying, particularly if what they're saying is complicated. We could step in and ask, I'm guessing that this is difficult. I'm wondering if you're feeling. So we're helping them identify for themselves what it is that is going on for them. But we're not there to tell them what's going on for them. And we're not there to solve what's going on for them. We're not their teacher, or we're not the storyteller. We're just with them as they share what is stimulating them. So how's that different to sympathy? And I wonder. I think from what I read and from what I've experienced and what I've noticed is sympathy seems to bring the self in the sense that something that the person you're listening empathetically to says stimulates something in you to then share. And it might shift the topichood. I don't have another word for it, but instead of it being about the other person, it suddenly becomes about you. And I've thought about that a lot, that sympathy is, I identify with what's going on for you. And so I'll let you know that, or I'll tell you my experience that's the same. And I've also heard that being empathetic means you understand, because of your own experience, what they're experiencing. And this has bothered me for some time. And I would say that I haven't read anywhere in Marshall's work where he just addresses this specific point. But just from, I guess, my experience and thinking about this, I think what we find is that you don't have to have the same experience as somebody to offer them empathy, because it's not about you, it's about them. And so you can sit with them and you can offer them your energetic support, either with or without language, even if you've never had that experience. And if you think about extreme events, I would hope we could always give empathy, even if we've never had the experience, because some experiences are very unlikely for us individually, for whatever reason, to have, but we can still give empathy. So I would sum up the differences. Empathy is about the other person, and we don't have to have the exact experience to be good at hearing empathetically the other person. And sympathy tends to trigger something in ourselves where we want to share with them. So topichood for an empathetic listener is the other person, but in sympathy, topichood can be both I or you. So I want to just show a little example. How am I going for time, Elka?
You're right at 5 minutes.
Right at 5 minutes. Oh, okay, well, I'll just stop there then.
No, let's see the slide. That's the main feature.
Oh, you want to see the slide? Okay. All right. I'm happy to show the slide. Okay. Sorry about my messy screen till I get it up.
We demand you show the slide.
Okay, so this is a little dialogue that is a modification of something that was actually recorded, and I have permission. In fact, it was an enemy image exercise at a formal training that was recorded, and then I what's the word? I transcribed it and changed it so nobody knows who it's about. But it's a husband and wife talking, and they're talking about the son, and the mother says, I'd love to hear what's going on for you in relation to Joe and the car. I want to understand. Father says, sure. When I got Joe's text on Sunday night requesting that I put more money in his account, I felt really confused because we've already given him the money for the car. And I guess when I prodded him, the story changed and I started to get suspicious. And it turns out he was lying to us. He hasn't saved as much money as he said. I didn't know what to say, but he was lying to us again. I feel really, I'm devastated. I'm tired. I'm seriously tired of this. I'm angry that he would still lie to us. I just don't get it. And his wife says, I'm really hearing the outrage and the shock, even when you think about the text from Joe asking for extra money that hadn't been agreed on. And when you think about wanting some honesty and hearing that his version of why he needed the money was actually not the truth, and the deep sadness that's here for you when he's caught out lying again. I'm hearing that you want some appreciation and respect for your support. Just honesty. Honesty. Right. I'm hearing that you really are wanting a new trusting connection where you can rely on his words and his actions line up. Yes. Would you like an honest connection with Joe and some reassurance from him that this won't happen again? Yes. And then there was silence. And the mother said again, I'm really hearing how much honesty matters to you. Yes. Is there anything else you'd like to hear? No, but thank you. I get a bit goosebumpy when I read that. The point I want to make is up here in this bit here where the empathizer says, I'm really hearing that you want some appreciation. I'm really hearing the outrage when you think, and when you think about wanting and hearing that his version and deep sadness that's here for you. That's what I mean by topichood, because at that point you could say, I'm really hearing about the appreciation and respect, and I get it. I've had this happen to me before, and you shift. So I would say empathy is you keep the topic you, even if you're bringing in what's happening for you in terms of your listening process. But for sympathy, you go to I as well as you. And I'll leave it there. Would anybody like to offer me some feedback?
Would you like to take down the slide, Elizabeth?
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. There we go. I'll just take a big breath. Speeding along at 100 miles an hour.
So E.T., when I heard you mention at the beginning that you were nervous, I noticed that I was feeling calm and warm, and you know, it was really meeting my need for community, and you know that we're all kind of in this together, and I'm wondering how that is to hear.
Oh, that is very soothing to hear. It requires a bit of courage to present. So to know that you're with me in that sense, there's some solidarity there is really lovely to hear. It meets my needs for belonging and acceptance. So thank you. Appreciate that feedback.
Well, I've got some kind of feedback. It seems to me 5-minute introduction on how to walk in quicksand isn't really going to get us across the pond. And then when we're in those situations, that's what's going on. Nice that the husband stopped the conversation and had said, okay, enough, I got something. That's really wonderful. But I think there was a lot more. I think he's asking for a lot more. Are you with me, wife? Do you have any feelings like that yourself? Am I here alone? And that didn't get addressed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing that this is not straightforward and you know, follow is a kind of a pattern necessarily. In real moments, these things are complex, and how to deal with and what to expect are all in the moment, and how we self-regulate so we're in the moment and can step in and offer empathy or go deeper into the feelings and needs of the person we're listening to. Yeah, it's complex. And of course, you know, what a big topic to do in 5 minutes. That's a lifelong journey, really, isn't it? But yeah, thank you for that.
I don't know if it was NBC feedback though.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't know if it was or wasn't, but I was alert to for you a desire to share the fact that it's complex and it's happening in the moment, and these things were important to you to share, and I hear you there. Anne.
I often have a lot of ideas, so I'm going to try to rein them in. First of all, I really enjoyed just now experiencing you modeling empathy in your response to Sterling. It was really heartened me. I felt heartened. And I'm also, yes, so when you were talking about the difference between empathy and sympathy, I became really curious as well, and curious about that distinction. And so you setting the tone for the curiosity that you expressing authentically your curiosity. Also, I had a sympathetic response to it. It also inspired curiosity in me. And I started to think about, you know, how that plays out in my life. And also about the relationship between sympathy and empathy, and when sympathy is useful or appropriate,
Yeah.
and when it's not. And I really enjoyed your use of sort of a dramatization of the situation. And I wonder as well, for the slide, I have a need for beauty, and I love the aesthetics, that I wonder if there's a different way that you could lay out that slide that would make it easier to read. That's one wondering of mine. And then the other curiosity that I have, because I've seen this done just recently, is if people were willing, that they could actually read the mother and the father aloud. I know it's 5 minutes, it's super short. And I wonder, like, because that's might be exciting for people to interact in that way, for one person to just read out the mother and another person to read out the father, and to have that kind of sharing of the content in that way. It was a little idea that I had. I hope I've been succinct.
Well, I'm really enjoying hearing that it sparked your curiosity, and that it took you to thinking about sympathy and whether it has a place or not. And yeah, I completely agree. It does have a place. And I also hear that your desire for beauty and layout and formatting is important to you. And I've often thought about, so here I'm going back to, I've often thought about how to make a lot of text attractive, because if you think about that little dialogue, it's a lot of words to demonstrate one little thing, but it's not little, it's very complex linguistically. So I share that, absolutely. How do we make text more interesting? And I would have loved to have had some interactivity and have people read, and was sort of sad that I had picked this topic for 5 minutes. I think it's a topic for life.
Yeah.
Thank you for that feedback. It's brilliant.
Here in your morning.
Yeah. Thanks, Anne. Anyone else?
Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you for doing that presentation. My wonder is, I found that I know it's partly that I'm a bit hot and I've been sitting and I was already listening, but I found that it was a bit cerebral, the first part. And so I lost my my attention span. I couldn't quite stay. But I'm a visual learner, so I was curious if you could find some like slides that were like cartoons or something that had, you know, really basic image of someone listening to somebody with love or something, and or another one sympathizing by telling them I relate. And as you were talking, then I think I might have had it might have been a bit easier to hear your words and also see something. I got it more at the end. Like, as I said, maybe it was just my brain in this moment is a bit tired. But I really like the end, like that slide. Again, I was thinking it was going to be something visual, like not just writing. So I was like, oh, okay, but that's fine, you know. It's just, I thought, and I mean, yes, it could have been nice with two people reading it, but your voice was very expressive. So for me, it came through quite, yeah, had an impact. And yeah, it was a bit weird because I kept thinking, well, he's really got some anger still, this guy. So I don't know, maybe it wasn't the easiest conversation as an example. I don't know. Anyways, but thank you. Yeah, I actually think I kind of now sort of know what empathy and sympathy are. So thanks.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Yeah, you know, I'm hearing that I'm a bit cerebral, so I'm understanding that as it was heavy on the brain as opposed to easy on the heart or something like that, and that it was easy to lose concentration, particularly because I think it's hot where you are. Again, it comes back to the formatting. What do you do with text? And I love the idea of cartoon characters and also, you know, how do you pick the best example that can capture it all quickly? So yeah, I will continue to think this through, and I'm not that good with computers, so I've often thought about getting you know, characters and having them pop in and out with their speech, but I've yet to get that skill. But yeah, I'll keep thinking it through and looking into that, and maybe reach out for some help. Thanks.
You're welcome. And I didn't ask how
I'm
was
interrupting.
it for you to receive my feedback that was.
Oh, delighted. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Good. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you.
Because after, I'll just finish with afterwards. For me, I was like, oh no, like I said, I was too negative, or like, oh no, or she just heard that the first bit. Oh no, like it was hard. I was uncomfortable afterwards.
Yeah. I was fine. I think, Anne, you wanted to say something again. Was that right?
Yes, I wanted to gain your consent to just put a couple of links into the chat of tools that may be of assistance.
Oh, thank
For
you.
you on your visual journey, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to assume that was going to be useful.
No, that'd be great.